Hello, all my YouTube folks out there. I'm trying to get a lot more content out. I'm trying to shoot for a video a day per capita. Like, I might release two one day and not one the next, but I'm trying to go for, 6 or 7 videos a week. So, this is going to be a controversial one. Because I think that our society's come to this. I personally have never been a huge fan of capitalism, okay? I grew up watching Star Trek and stuff like that. And I think capitalism's at the point where it's starting to swallow its own head, and that's partially because people are allowed to hold too much wealth and too many, the FTC has allowed too many monopolies to happen, although they're starting to step in on that stuff and kind of, try and keep it from happening, like in the Albertsons Kroger buy it. Literally, if Kroger had been able to buy Albertsons, you would have 2 supermarkets that control all, pretty much. Get on the Albertsons website and look how many supermarkets they control, okay? So I think, and a lot of people think, we're kind of at the point in the world, and especially in this country, where we need to move to some type of universal basic income. Now, I think that ought to be just semi-social, and it ought to be voucher-based, because you can't always control what people are doing with their money, right? If you give people money, then there's certain taxes associated with that, and you just can't always control what people are doing with it, all right? And you're not necessarily going to be able to control what I'm proposing here completely, but I think it'll be more controllable than just handing out money, all right? So this will be more of a voucher-based, universal basic voucher, and I really think it's the only answer. Okay, so there's just a few points here. There are a few of them. I might have to cut this particular video up. So, housing. So you would receive the appropriate sized housing for your family unit, including pets, okay? We'll cover an example of that later, but based on your family size, you would receive anything from a studio apartment up to, say, a 3 or 4 bedroom house, okay? Hi, Joe. Behave, I'm filming something. Let's see. Number 2. You would basically receive food stamps that, again, would be based on your family unit size. You would essentially get a food card, and there would be funds put on it weekly, and that couldn't be used to get fast food or anything like that. Anything that would be considered non-essential, luxuries, you would still have to buy. Right, so you would still need, although you could survive under my scenario without a job, it would benefit you to at least have some type of job, because then you could afford a lot of the stuff that, society wants you to buy. Let's see, so yeah, number 2, you'd receive a food card based on your family unit size as well. Number 3, you would have free health care. We're talking for non-elective stuff like major health problems, surgery, stuff like that. If you need plastic surgery, or you want to make your boobs bigger or smaller or whatever, that's on you. So that's number 4. Non-essential items would still have to be paid for. So if you want to use more than the city internet that would be provided, I'm proposing city internet here, sort of like they have in McAllen, Texas. but if any non-essentials, so better internet, your streaming services, your luxury items, guitars, cars, stuff like that. Of course, the prices need to come down for those things, but you would still need to pay for them. Number 5, this is just me. I believe pets need to be considered dependents of a sort, and they need to be factored into this too. A lot of people need pets for emotional support, and part of the reason I just don't up and leave the country is these guys right here. I'm terribly in love with them, despite the few setbacks that can come along with pet caretaking. But I believe that pets are part of people's families. If they're starting to consider dolphins to be people, then your pets ought to be part of your dependent count. Maybe not for as much as a kid, but they need to count for something because they need to be cared for. Number 6, by taking the decision out of people's hands, the Fed can control their output better, and several social programs can kind of be, gotten rid of here. If you're giving everybody just basic housing, then you can get rid of all the housing programs pretty much. You can revamp food stamps because there will technically be more funds available for it. This would basically allow the government to revamp a lot of their programs and kind of streamline things a little better. You guys are probably saying, this is going to be a massive cost. A government should invest in its people, just like the wealthy used to reinvest in the middle class. And aside from that, my rent's $650 a month and I can't even pay it. What are we gonna do? They would be able to streamline things and manage their tax outlay and money outlay a little bit better. Number 7, easing tensions of basic living would allow people to find more suitable employment. You have a lot of people doing jobs that they just hate or are not suited for these days. And this, giving them a place to live so they don't have to worry about being out on the street would allow them to kind of spend a little more time finding a job that they can do a while. I think that's a big part of the problem. I know that at my age and with the separated shoulder and the plantar fasciitis and stuff like that, I'm no longer suited to work in a warehouse or be on my feet all day. It's just not a thing I can easily do anymore, and I have to put myself through a good deal of pain in order to do it. Giving people just basic living would allow people to find, people who like working in warehouses could find a way to do that, people who don't could. It'll just help the overall state of things. And again, I'm not talking we go completely social here. I think people should still be responsible for paying for the things they want versus being provided the things they need. Yeah. So number 8. So for this to work, they're going to have to really control the prices of food and utilities a lot more. Why? Because when you have free money, the thing that companies tend to want to do is just jack up the price, so it's like you don't have the money at all. And if that happens, it's not useful. What I just said there. I mean, basically, you can't let the powers that you can't let the companies be in control of the prices completely. They need a window based on something in which they can exist in, and stuff like that. But again, the guy running the store is being provided a place to live as well. So, his dog in the fight isn't as hungry as it used to be. Number 9, job placement services will need to be expanded upon, as well as public transit. So this could actually create a lot of jobs, because if people are going to take more suitable employment, it might be farther away, and they might need to get there, and they just might not want to buy and try and afford a car. Although this program would allow people to do it even if they had a part-time job. So a lot of money would go back into things. Number 10, even many of the wealthy feel this is the only way. I don't like Elon Musk, but he was on the internet. One moment. I was saying I don't even personally like Elon Musk. I've done a video on that, but even he was on the internet the other day saying like this is probably going to be our only choice, because just there are too many people in this country and not enough work to go around. Number 11. They need to, I mentioned this briefly already, they need to really work on getting city internet, right? It doesn't need to be that fast or anything like that. If you want faster internet, you'll still have to pay for it at your house. But, having say, reasonably quick, I can do business and send emails on this internet available on a city level, would really help things out. So as an example, a single person with myself with say 2 pets would probably be placed in a 1-bedroom apartment. I would probably receive a $75 food allowance per week, and a $50 pet allowance per month, and I can go to public health care whenever I need to. I think public transit should still be paid for. You ought to be able to get enough money together to kind of pay for public transit, and the government does need to make money somewhere to cover some of these things. Will taxes increase at your job? Probably, but it would be worth it in the long run. Now, say you were a single person and you didn't have pets, you'd probably get put in a studio apartment, right? Once you get up into being like a wife, a husband, wife, and at least 1 kid, you're looking at getting into more brick and mortar style individual housing. People who have already bought their homes would have the option to get some type of additional allowance because they've already paid for their homes, or they could sell their home for a lump amount and get put into the new system. And I really feel like we're headed somewhere like this. Harris wants to do that $25,000 down payment assistance program, but that is not going to help anyone. People would benefit more by receiving a free $25,000 house. Okay, like give somebody an RV or something, right? That would be more beneficial than that program, because people are going to put $25,000 down on a $200,000 house, and basically they're still going to need to be making 6 figures a year in order to pay the bill. Basically, Americans just need to stop paying for a few things, because there's no more room, and again, as long as we're gonna just let people continue to pour into this country that need work, and further drive job availability and minimum wage down, if we're not going to say, I don't know, force retirable age people to retire and stuff like that, people just aren't going to be getting jobs. And it's to a point where people are starting to expat and just leave this country in droves. So, you know, what's it going to be? Anyway, that's just an idea, just kind of some opinions of mine. Sorry about Joe. Please subscribe to my channel for a more like low income everyday man's opinion on things. I appreciate you guys watching to the end. Goemonronin signing out.